U.S. President Joe Biden has called the Chinese President Xi Jinping a dictator, alleging that he was very embarrassed when the Chinese balloon was blown off course over the U.S. recently. Mr. Biden made the remarks at the fundraiser in California just a day after Secretary of State Antony Blinken met President Xi on a trip to China, which was aimed at easing tensions between the two countries. President Biden added that shooting down the suspected spy balloon was the type of action dictators find greatly embarrassing. China has described President Biden's comments as extremely absurd and irresponsible. The country's foreign ministry spokesperson Mao Ning says, quote, Mr. Biden's comments go totally against facts, seriously violate diplomatic protocol, and severely infringes on China's political dignity. A suspected Chinese spy balloon blew over U.S. airspace in February. And for more on the crossfire of words and frosty U.S.-China relations, global affairs analyst Collins Nweke joins me now from Belgium. Thank you for joining us on the news. What do you make of China's response to this? They've called it a serious violation of the country's political dignity. Do you agree?
Well, I believe that at this level, all statements, public statements issued are very, very carefully weighed. So there is no happenstance here. There is no, misspeaking or an error. So let's begin with Biden, who actually made that statement that can, by all intents, be, considered disparaging. Yes, I think it was a strategic statement, actually made with the purpose of beefing up, America's negotiating power over China, considering the timing in terms of Blinken, the foreign secretary, having just, gone there for what was perceived to be a very, very important meeting. And of course, China has the right of response, and they have responded in a manner that, they feel it is necessary to restore back what they believe to be the damage to the integrity of China that, Biden has made. So over the course of the coming months, the coming years, I believe that the world should brace up to be seeing such a war of words, either coming from China or from America, with the other side, sending out a rebuttal.
Just last year, U.S. President Biden met President Xi in Indonesia, where both leaders talked about easing bilateral tensions. They also agreed to reopen communication channels, and of course, we saw that happen when Blinken visited Beijing. But does this comment match this earlier commitment?
Well, it stands in sharp contrast to that meeting of the two leaders that in some quarters was described as the beginning of, a reset in the relationship between the United States and People's Republic of China. However, over the past, couple of, several months, I would say, America believes that China has actually acted in ways that undermine the gains of that visit. Take, for example, the spy, balloon, for all that is worth. America also believes that China has continued to violate, international laws, international standards when it comes to its expansionist, drive in terms of becoming the next global superpower. So the competition gets, fiercer, and as it does so, America, continues to find a way to push back. And like I said earlier, this is something that has actually come to stay as long as there is no clear understanding on both sides, China and the United States, that as a matter of fact, China has to be allowed to pursue its international agenda, and that it is probably written in the stars that China is going to be the controller of the next world order.
Absolutely. It's been a very complicated relationship between both countries since 1949, and some sharp differences remain in the area of trade. For instance, the Russian war in Ukraine, as well as China's Beijing's one China policy and U.S. position on Taiwan. But even though we just witnessed perhaps the highest level trip by a U.S. official to China in nearly 5 years, and the Chinese foreign minister has also been expected to visit Washington, are you optimistic of tension between both countries really easing in the coming days?
I have reasons to believe that the containment policy of the United States of America towards China might actually, witness some gains. Some gains in terms of, China actually giving in a little bit by playing by the rules of the World Trade Organization in its, international business, international economic drive. Now, that will, soften America's position a little bit, but only just a little bit, because China's ambition, its global ambition, is one that America actually cannot, stand against. Now, all that America is now doing is pointing on two matters. One is China's violation of international law in its expansionist drive, but also human rights. Now, on the aspect of, on both sides actually, on both counts, they do have a point, but at the same time, China remains a sovereign country that has the right to pursue its agenda as it deems fit. I think the jury is out there internationally to ascertain the extent to which they violate human rights, but also international law in its, expansionist agenda.
We're looking forward to a more stable and predictable relationship between both countries. Well, hopefully. Thank you for talking to us, Global Affairs Analyst Colin Saweke.
My pleasure always to be with you.